Fence Marketing Profit Podcast. Interviews with $1 million plus fence and gate business owners on how they market and grow their companies in today's economy. Hear directly from the most successful leaders in your business and discover what they're doing to keep their phones ringing, trucks running, and businesses booming. With your host, Scott Andreasen.
All righty, so here we are. We're getting ready to get started here in just a moment. We're going to just wait, 30 seconds, a minute or so for some people to chime in here. And I'm going to go ahead and get our slides ready. My name is Scott Andreasen with Fence Marketing Team. We're going to hang out just a little bit here while people join us. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so we're going to get started here in just a moment. Hello, Dave. Thanks for joining us. Can you hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, just maybe press a 1 in the chat. On the bottom, you should see a little chat icon. Hopefully you can hear me. Do we have audio? Awesome. All right, cool. Read you loud and clear. We have some people joining us by phone, so that's awesome. So I think we can go ahead and get started. My name is Scott Andreasen with Fence Marketing Team, and this is your 2020 Internet Marketing Plan for fence companies. So this is exciting stuff. We came back from the holiday, so everyone I know is excited to get going and really grow their business and set things off right. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here's what we're going to cover. First off, we're going to set goals for 2020. How many leads do you need to hit to reach your target, your revenue target? We're going to go over that, exactly how you're going to set that up. We're going to discuss 3 fundamentals to marketing success for fence and gate sales. How to optimize your website for conversion in 2020 and beyond. And the big picture of all the online marketing channels you should be tapping into to maximize your best fence leads online. So the latest trends you will need to focus on in 2020 are going to be included. And we'll develop a custom action plan based on where you are now and what you need to do now. So this is your time, folks. Turn off your cell phones, turn off your Facebook. I know some of you may be in the field, but keep in mind that this is your time to really focus on your business. If you're a fence or gate business owner and you're serious about getting better results in 2020, the next 60 to 90 minutes will change your life. So a lot of you know how to use the chat. I will just share with you because we'll have a Q&A at the end. There is a little chat icon. Depending on what your screen looks like, you may see a little button that says more. You would just click on that, click chat, and then you can type in whatever questions you have. And if you stay to the end, we have a very special surprise for you. You're going to get the ultimate fence and gate online marketing checklist, recently updated, as well as the most commonly searched fence keywords for SEO and pay per click. Top 65 keywords that'll get your phone ringing. So, who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, I've been in the digital marketing space for 11 years now, and we only market fence and gate companies. We've successfully launched marketing campaigns and built hundreds of websites over the years. We're also members of the American Fence Association. So I've got a question for you. What's the hardest part about marketing your fence or gate services online? Someone chime in for me. What's the hardest part about it? Anybody? Susie, Joe, Dave? Trying to keep it interactive here. Come on, someone give me something. What's the hardest part about marketing your fence or gate business online? Nobody wants to play? Well, Dave says I'm new, so give me your answer. Okay. Well, a lot of times it boils down to the business either doesn't have enough quality leads coming in, or they're at the under end of the spectrum. They have too many leads coming in and they're mostly crap. So they're trying to filter through, find some easy way to filter through the best leads. And so it's usually one or the other. So let's take, for instance, Chambly Fence Company. They've been in business for 60 years. And a lot has changed, obviously, in the past 60 years. Starting out, 40 years ago, the yellow book was the way to go. Back in the early days, you could just, put ads in the yellow pages, and that would get your phone ringing. And plenty of businesses ran their whole deal just off the yellow book. And so that's how Chambly Fence started their business. And they're actually 3 generations of fencers. And that worked for a long time, but then all of a sudden their business started drying up. And can anyone guess why it started drying up? Bob, Eric, anyone want to take a guess, take a swing at this? The internet came along. Absolutely. So the internet came along, and so lo and behold, people want things at their fingertips. They don't want to be thumbing through pages in a book anymore. So we have Google and Yahoo and Bing and Yelp and all these different places that people know and trust, and that's where they want to look for business. So this is where 97% of the people went, and the Yellow Pages book pretty much dried up. There's still some elderly folks that use it, but all in all, no one is reading the book much anymore. So how do you own the internet in your area? You have a local fence or gate business and you want to dominate, right? There's a lot of competition out there. So how do you go about it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover right here in this webinar. So Chambly Fence, they tried a few different things. They tried the Yellow Pages. The Yellow Pages moved from the book and started an online directory. And with that online directory, they would build out a web page for their users. But that had very mediocre results. It worked for a little bit, but not for long. And the reason being is because people started just searching on Google. They did not want to go to the yellow pages to look for businesses. They just wanted to type in what they want and then find it on Google. So Google pretty much killed that. So what did they need to do to get their internet marketing right? Well, to rank on the search engines for the fence and home services related keywords in their service area, they needed a website that would convert their visitors to actual callers. So they needed first to get their business listed in the search engines, and then they needed a website that would actually start turning those visitors into leads. So what happened was they got their web marketing right. And there you can see they are on top of the 3-pack, and then they're in the organic section 2 times below as well. And so we're going to cover exactly how they did that. And this is part of our full series, so you know, of 2020 we're in now, of how to triple your leads by getting your internet marketing right. And so we're going to be covering a broad spectrum of things that you see here on this picture. So the result was, in the past 90 days, they've gotten 1,853 leads coming in by getting their internet marketing right. So they were able to grow to 7.5 million in revenue. They have a new goal to do 10 million in revenue. And they've been able to expand their business through their website, organic search engine optimization, and Google sponsored ads. Not to mention they have a confidence that they have a consistent and stable, sustainable lead flow in place. So what would that mean for you, your business? How would things be different for you if you grew your business to 7.5 million? Someone chime in. Any takers? Would it be better? Would it be worse? I'm not moving. I'm not moving till I get an answer from somebody. All right. Susie on Facebook says that would be much better, but a lot of stress. Yeah, right. So agreed with growing your business to that size. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more systems that have to be in place. So, but it's a good thing. Growth is a good thing. So if you folks are ready, let's go ahead and dive in and roll up our sleeves and do this. What do you say? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. You should have gotten an email to download a worksheet. Okay, if you have not done that yet, then feel free. You should go do that right now. Go to fencemarketingteam.com/worksheet. And that's going to immediately download a worksheet that we'll do together. And in this way, you can work through these exercises and get your marketing plan in place exactly how it needs to be so you'll reach your goals for 2020. All right, so go ahead and do that now. And for those of you that already have it, then let's go ahead and get into it. So rule number one is we need to set clear goals. So what are your goals for 2020? Anyone want to chime in on that? What kind of goals do you have in place for the new year? Doesn't have to just be sales goals. It could be getting a certain number of crews. It could be getting certain systems in place. What kind of goals do you guys want to put together? Eric, Susie, Dave, what are your goals? Eric says to make more money. All right, Eric. So let's go ahead and get into it then. So clear goals. The point of this is when you have clear goals, it's like having wind in your sails, because every time you reach a goal, it gives you that extra confidence and push that you need to get to the next goal. And so that's why we do it. And there's been a lot of study on setting goals, and one was by Harvard. And so in Harvard in 1979, they did an interview of their graduates. 84% of the graduates in 1979 from Harvard set no specific goals whatsoever, they said. 13% of them had goals, but they were not written down. So they just kind of had an idea of what they wanted to do, and that was their goal. 3% had very clear written goals and plans to accomplish them. And here's the results. The 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% that had no goals at all. And even more staggering, the 3% who had clear written goals were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. So that's huge. Let that sink in for a moment. What that's saying is that if you just take the time to write down your goals, just write them down. If you take the time to do that, then the odds are way more in your favor that you're going to be making more money and that you're going to be running the business that you've always dreamed of. So that's important. And this study is done by some of the greatest minds that we have. All right, awesome. And so Dave chimed in. Thank you, Dave. He said his goals are, it's a new company. He wants 3 full-timers, 100K in revenue by the end of the year. And so that's awesome. Oh, if you're not finding the download, you should actually look in the bottom left corner. It should download automatically to your computer. So you should see it in the bottom left. Just real quick, I just want to make sure this is working for everyone fine. So let me go ahead and try it. My internet connection is running a little slow. I'm hoping we're not having an issue with this. So if I click download here, boom, in the bottom left, it should just download into the browser, or even if you're on a smartphone, you can still download it, and then it should look like this. You should have a nice worksheet that you can print out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get back to the slides, and hopefully you're able to pull that up okay, Dave. If not, we can always email that out to you after the webinar. All right, so I need to get back to the slides here. Bear with me one second. And We are there. Okay, perfect. So the goal setting framework, let's cover that. You have to have written goals and plans. You need to set a minimum of a 1-year goal, and then quarterly goals, and then monthly goals. And so what we're going to do now is go over our goals. We're going to write them down together. You must have a stopping point at the beginning of each new year and end of each quarter to reflect on how did you do? You know, based on what you set for your goal, what are your goals going to be moving forward? And you know, if you set a goal and you way overshot, then maybe just kind of refine it a little bit. Don't beat yourself up too hard if you don't reach a goal. You should be patting yourself on the back for doing these exercises, showing up to this webinar, and just taking time to think about your business and set these goals. Okay, so that, don't worry about the rest. Let's just do the work. All right. So some goals that we're going to discuss is like, what is your revenue target? And some of you chimed in on that. Dave said 100,000. Awesome. How much is that monthly? Okay, so you want to figure out what that is monthly. And then, to get that, how many calls, how many leads is it going to require? What is your average transaction value when you sell a fence service? When you do an installation of wood versus aluminum versus wrought iron, different things like that. So we need to factor these in. So let's do it. So we're going to use some numbers here. These are just hypothetical numbers. Your numbers are going to be different. But let's discuss, what is your revenue target? Let's say you put down 1.5 million as your target. Okay. We need to figure out what that is monthly. So divide it by 12. We got 125,000 per month. What is your average transaction value? So put a number in that you're comfortable with. It's always better to be conservative, right? So if you're selling a fence for 2,000 here, 8,000 there, 3,000 there, we need to kind of ballpark of what's the average transaction value going to be. To do that, maybe you could take the last 3 months of fence sales, look at the total number of transactions you have, delete the absolute top one. If you sold one that's like 50 grand more than you normally ever get rid of that. And maybe delete the bottom one or two if they're like really, really low, like it was a project that really you normally wouldn't take, but you just kind of did it. So we're trying to get a median here, an average. So you get that 4,000, we'll say, is the average transaction value. Then, how many leads are required to make one sale on average? And so we're not talking about a closing percentage here. We're talking more so about the conversion of actually getting a lead. Actually, we are talking about the conversions. My bad. We're talking about the closing percentage. So if it takes you 5 leads, 5 estimates to close a fence sale, then you would have a closing percentage of 20%. Okay, so the math on this is to reach our goal of 125,000 per month. If it takes us 1 or 5 leads to make one sale, then we would need 156 leads to make 125,000 in a month. So your closing percentage is going to be different. Maybe it takes you 3 leads to close a sale, or 2 leads. But you want to factor that in, because not every lead, not every person that calls you on the phone is going to buy a fence from you. So you want to get the average there. and see realistically, give yourself some cushion. How many leads is it going to take you to hit that revenue goal per month? And here's what I was looking for, is how many calls will generate one real lead? So if for every 2 calls you're getting 1 real lead, then you can factor that in as well. So that's what we're going to do in this example. We're assuming that it takes 2 calls to actually generate a real lead or an estimate. And so all in all, we're going to need 312 calls or leads to close $125,000 worth of business per month. And so once we have reverse engineered this, that now we know how many leads we need to close our total gross sales per month. So then we just need to develop a marketing plan that's going to do that. And that can include the website and SEO and social media marketing on Facebook and different channels to siphon traffic from these different sources to generate the leads that we need to close the business. So how many leads will you need? What is your average conversion rate from a caller to a booked estimate? And what's your closing percentage? So if 5 people call you on the phone, or they fill out a contact form, how many of those are actually going to turn into a booked estimate? And then out of those booked estimates, so now they got the price, they've got the measurements, the price. Out of those, how many are actually going to close out of 5? Write it down. So if it's 1 out of 5, it's 20%. 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5. Right? So we're setting our goals. What is your goal going to be for 2020? How many leads will you need monthly to get there? Now let's talk about updating your marketing message. Okay, so now we know the numbers. From doing the worksheets, we can reverse engineer this so we know how many leads we need to get to reach the revenue goal. So now we need to update our marketing message to portray our fence company services in the best way, to really speak to our local area. Are you in a rural area where you're doing more farm fencing? Are you in an upscale neighborhood where it's like, cedar and redwood fences and wrought iron, custom wood, things like that? So our message really needs to speak to our audience locally. And so we have here some basic fundamentals. We have our message, which is going to be our ad copy / offer, which we can put this on our website, our Facebook page. We have our audience and our targeting. So who will we market to? And we're going to drill down on this, so this is more clear. We're going to drill down on what your message is going to be, on who your target audience is going to be, and then media. So we have message, market, media. What platforms will we use? How are we going to reach these people with our message? Okay, so we're going to develop our message. We're going to market it to the right audience. And how are we going to market it to the right audience? Using the right platform. And by platform, I mean search engine optimization on Google, or Facebook ads, or paid ads on Google, and so on. So who is your ideal customer? In your worksheets, you have this little guy, Albert Avatar. And this is an exercise that shouldn't take you too long. You know, you might want to spend a good 20, 30 minutes on this. Really think about your local area and who you serve. What do they do? How do they spend their week? What do they do outside of work? Where do they get their news? You know, what people do in Florida, where I live, is very different from what people do in New York or Wyoming, right? So we need to really, the message is going to be different. We're going to be speaking to different people based on where we live. How much money do they make out there? How do they feel about their job? Really drill down and pick apart the customers that you've served, or if you're new, think about who you're going to serve, and really pick apart who they are and write it down. That's your customer avatar. And you can put anything in here, like we're talking demographics, right? So are they married? Are they divorced? Ethnicity. All these things need to be factored in. So, for instance, in Florida, we have huge sections of like Tampa and Orlando and Miami where it's very Latin. And so fence companies really need to be speaking to that audience and even putting in Spanish written web pages to speak to them in Espanol. You know, that's how you really gain the confidence of your audience, is if you're in a local area like that where there's huge pockets of certain ethnicities, you know, hundreds of thousands, then you need to really speak to them in that way. So here's some ideas for your customer avatar. Are they a homeowner? In most cases, it's going to be yes, right? Unless you're doing some commercial, then you want to factor that in as well. What's their age? Male, female, married with kids, head of household? Are they family oriented? Are they handy, not handy? Are they the type of people that, you know, normally would want to install a fence themselves? And then what are their pains and frustrations? Okay, so why do they want to buy a fence in most cases where you live? Is their existing fence in disarray? What's going on? Are locally, is it common that they call a fence company and, you know, no one returns their call? Are the fence companies late to get out there? Are the fence companies normally, you know, breaking sprinklers when they come out? We want to speak to their pains, frustrations, their worries. You want to write all this down. Are they tired of dealing with nosy neighbors? Maybe they need to sell their house and the fence doesn't look good, so they need to repair it. So some common fears and implications: being ripped off or overcharged for their fence, paying too much for something they could have gotten elsewhere, damaged by faulty workmanship. You know, is the fence going to be sagging in a couple months? The inconvenience of trying to coordinate with the fence contractor to be there when they're there. Broken sprinklers, water lines underground, cables. So what are their goals and desires? Well, they want to get their fence fixed. They want to have the issue behind them. If they got an old fence, they want it replaced. And then we've got the other things, part of human nature, taking care of their family, more income, money, wealth, live in a nicer home, status, and so on. So the bottom line is this: if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. Remember that. You always want to put yourself in the buyer's shoes, right? See things from their perspective. So when you're putting together your message, imagine that it's a stranger looking up you and your business for the first time. Can they put a face with a name? If they look you up, are you on the website? Are there any images of you or your team? Or is it just generic and they have no idea who it is they're going to be dealing with? So let's craft your message. So your message. Why should someone choose to do business with your fence company versus the competition? What is your big selling point? What's your big promise? And I'll throw some ideas out for you, okay? Family owned and operated. Another one could be that you have a 98% customer satisfaction rate with all new installs for the past 3 years. Start thinking like this. The leader in cedar wood fences, or we install the most wood fences in the Tri-County area or something like that. So you need to think about why someone would choose you versus the competition and write that down. Now, as time goes by, and say you've been in business 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you know this. You may want to refine it a bit, but you already know it. If you're just starting out, you need to think of something that you can set yourself apart with. Like starting out, you might want to say something like special attention to detail, call and get a live person, the owner answers the phone. Depending on what stage you're at in your business, that's going to vary. Owners out on the job site for each installation. So you can play it both ways. If you're just starting out, you can use things like that. If you've been in business for 50, 60 years, you can use that. Most established fence company in the area, 50 years in business, 60 years in business. What benefits do you offer that your target customer avatar will resonate with? Okay, so after you've done your customer avatar, what benefits can you offer them? Don't say best price. I understand that some of you are high volume sellers and price is always a factor, but you don't always need to go there. So benefits could be something like a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee, or you could do something like 10% off new fence installations, or let's see what else works well. A free anti-rot package. You could do something like that. So here's some messaging that works. We've noticed in our ads on the websites, what converts better is using words like fast service, 10% off installations, guaranteed sprinkler repair, lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Those are some buzzwords that seem to really work well to help drive calls. Another thing is straightforward pricing or upfront pricing, satisfaction guaranteed. trustworthy installers, trusted installers, or experienced installers. Those all work well. So you can make the case. Fast same-day service, money-saving offers, clean-cut professional installers will leave your yard looking cleaner than they found it. Great service guaranteed. That's everything, in terms of a message. You want to be focusing on that message. Now we can look at media. So you want to make your hub convert. Let's talk about what your hub is. So really, it all starts with a great website. I still believe that after doing this for 11 years, that people, they may find you on different channels, but they eventually all go to your website at one point or another. And so you really want that thing to convert leads well. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So right now, is your website set up to convert leads? Okay, here's an example of a client site. And we're going to point out some fundamental basics that you should really have on your web pages. You want a strong call to action. Here, we've actually put two. We've got free estimates and then 10% off military and veterans. They get a discount. We have a video straight from the owner. So this helps establish rapport. People want to see the owner. Now, I was talking on the phone with a business owner the other day, and he was worried about putting his face on the site because then he thought that the customers would constantly be calling him and so on. It really doesn't work that way. People don't expect the business owner to be answering the phone. That's something that can be delegated out to an office manager, receptionist, and so on. So really, they just want to see that whoever is running the show, whoever is the captain of the ship, that they're willing to stand behind their business and see things through. And you as the business owner, if you're willing to step up and do that and put yourself on the front page of your site and so on, that speaks volumes. And you'll notice that a lot of fence companies, they don't do that. They don't even show their crews. And so that's a huge missed opportunity. We also have an instant online quote tool. You'll see the black box, rectangular box in the middle of the screen. That brings them to a My Salesman page to get an instant online quote. You will also see below the video another Get a Fast Quote button. So this thing is set up to convert leads. The phone number, big bold print, top right. You'd be amazed how many websites we've seen over the years where they don't even list the phone number on the front page of the site, or it's in small print and you have to search for it. And then reviews. Reviews are one of the biggest sales tools that you have. And so if you don't have a system in place, you need to get one. Reviews are the new currency of the internet. It's here to stay. And there's been major studies by Nielsen Research on this, that 70% of people look at the reviews and 90% make their buying decision based on those reviews. So reviews matter. So I showed you a desktop website, but half of your traffic for people finding you online is actually going to be coming from mobile devices. We're in a mobile age. It's here to stay. It's going to continue to grow. Mark my words, within the next 10 years, local businesses are all going to be searched from smart devices. So here we have the mobile site. We have the get a quote button right there, set it up to convert. We have the call to action with an offer. We have the video to keep them on the mobile site page. We have a little call now button. So another missed opportunity is that most fence companies, they may have a phone number on the mobile site, but then you gotta, again, hunt for it. It's not in plain view, or it's not a click to call button. And most people, try it yourself. Try to go on a website, and if the phone number is not click to call, then you gotta try and remember the phone number and go back and type it in. It's very hard to do. It's very hard to remember the 7 digits. So the best thing to do is just put a little call now button, and this way people can click on it and call you. And how we set it up is no matter where they scroll down the page, that call now button is always there on every page. You just push it, and there you go. You get them on the phone. And then we have, again, the reviews. How we do it, how we recommend you do it is your reviews are your money. And for every review you get, that's just going to be more money in the bank for you exponentially. So we like to show those above the fold, top of the page. We don't want people hunting for reviews. They're in plain sight no matter where. So can conversion optimization really have an impact? Here's a client. The website that they started off with is on the left. And then after, here's what their website looks like now. And it's had a huge impact. They went from having pretty much no leads on the internet whatsoever to getting hundreds of contact forms per year, hundreds of calls. So this stuff does work. And right there, you can see the call now, top right, very easy in plain sight. They have a huge special on the front. And then they have a contact form right there above the fold. They've got a video on the front page with a vehicle wrap van. And then, of course, they have their reviews, 5-star reviews displayed right above the fold. So we have this right here is our Ultimate Fence and Gate Company website conversion machine. And if you want a copy of this, just go ahead and type in the chat that I want a copy, and I'll make sure to get you one emailed out. But this is essentially a checklist of how to ensure your website has all the top converting aspects it should have. Your call to action, your click to call on your phone. It really is a nice checklist for you to make sure your website is set up to convert leads, that it's set up for SEO, and so on. So is your website set up for conversion? Does it speak to your target avatar? Does it address their fears and frustrations and speak to why they should choose you? Does it have real, authentic images of your team to the homepage and throughout the site? Another missed opportunity that we see is a lot of fence companies just go with stock images. And that's really not a way to make yourself memorable, to build your brand, and set yourself apart from the competition. Because people see right through the stock images. They know that it's not your work. So you're better off using real images of your team and your work. Do you include video elements on your website? Do you have a welcome video? Do you have videos for each of your services? Videos explaining why someone should contact you versus the competition? Does it showcase your online reviews more prominently on the homepage with like a tool like Nearby Now, Bird Eye, Review Buzz? We also have our own, which I was showing you before. Does it make it easy for them to take action and get in contact with your company? So get the basics in order. Phone number in the top right corner. Ensure that your website has a web form that customers can fill out, or better yet, if you're getting a large abundance of leads and want to filter that out, use a tool like My Salesman to have them draw out their fence and get a quote right on the spot. Add credibility with authority symbols like Better Business Bureau, if you're a member, Angie's List. If you have those super service awards, put those, you want those near the top of the fold. So if you have like a large slider image on your site, right below that, you want to have your trust seals. Are there calls to action on each page to ensure they speak to your customer avatar and tell them exactly what to do next? So keep in mind, as time goes by, you're building out, hundreds of web pages for your business. And usually people, that have their act together, they at least want that home page looking great. But what happens if someone finds you on search through one of your other web pages? We see that a lot of times those pages aren't set up to convert. So you want to make sure that your supplemental pages also are set up to convert well. And then are you going to give them the opportunity to engage with you via chat? So you can put live chat on your site. One that we use that's really effective is Facebook Messenger. It's free. You can just embed it on your website, and a lot of people will engage with you that way for a quote. So what 3 conversion elements will you implement on your website in 2020? Let me hear from you. This is an interactive webinar. Bob, Susie, Dave, Gerald. We have a couple people on Facebook, I see. Harvey, what are you guys going to implement for 2020 on your website? Harvey says click to call. Awesome, good for you. Susie's going to add a special. Great for you, Susie. All right. Making some headway. So, takeaways. What did you learn? What did you notice? What would you like to share? Anyone feel free to share what their takeaways are. How about you, Dave? What takeaways are you getting from this? Cindy says she needs to redo her website. All right, Cindy. All right, now you want to know and track your key performance indicators. Let's go ahead and cover that. Oh, Dave chimed in. I like my site, but it's not online yet. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you, Dave, when it's online. I know it's going to be great. So hopefully you're learning a lot from this and you're implementing the last finishing touches on that. Good for you. So some things that you want to keep in mind here is you want to be tracking how many leads you're getting. Okay? And the majority of the fence company owners that we talk to have no sort of tracking in place, or they're guessing how many calls are coming in. And That's one way to do it, but there's a better way, and that is through call tracking. And there's services out there that are very affordable, cheap, and they forward to your number. You answer the call just like you normally would. But then they track the calls, they log the calls. So you can see week after week, month after month, exactly how many calls are coming in and start measuring that. So your average cost per call generated, you can calculate that. If you're spending money on advertising, this is critical. So if you're spending $1,000, how many calls per month are you getting from $1,000? Well, if you had call tracking, you wouldn't have to go back to a little notepad and figure that out or go through your call records. If you had call tracking, you could just know instantly, okay, for $1,000, I'm getting 20 calls, 30 calls, whatever. So this kind of information is really critical to running your business profitably. And you want to have a simple dashboard to measure your key performance indicators, because what gets measured gets done. So how we do it is we have a call tracking dashboard, the contact forms are saved to a database, and so on. So we know how many leads are coming in each month. So here's what an executive summary looks like of some key performance indicators. 490 leads, a total investment of $3,096.28. Average cost per lead, $6.32. And then a breakdown of what came from where. So organic calls from SEO, 215. Pay-per-click calls, 59. Google Maps calls, 166. And then web forms filled out, 50. So a total of 490 leads. This is a great way to measure your costs and know your profitability. So far, we've discussed a clear goal and a target for 2020. We've established clarity around your market, your message, and the media. We're making sure that our website is optimized for conversions. And we're going to set up a simple key performance indicator tracking dashboard. So let's build your plan. Part of your plan can include SEO, pay-per-click. With pay-per-click, you have retargeting. Those are the little ads that will follow people around. So you run Google ads with remarketing, and then your ads continue to follow them around. You can do paid online directories such as Yelp, Angie's List, Houzz, and so on. Repeat and referral business from your customers. That can be part of your plan. You know, what are you doing to stay in touch with your customers you've already had? Are you asking for referrals? You can do pay per lead from sites like Home Advisor, and social media marketing like Facebook and YouTube videos. So key trends for 2020. Automation is really going to play a huge role. So how we're using automation for our clients is someone calls into the number, they're getting automated text messages back. Someone fills out a contact form, they're getting text message automations. How can we help? Do you need a quote? We're sending them an email saying, how can we help? Do you need a quote? We're emailing them a link to My Salesman so they can go ahead and get their own quote, that we don't even need to have a human asking for, you know, measurements or anything like that. We can just have them do it and spit them out a quote and close the business. And then if they're not following up, the automations just keep continuing. They keep getting text messages every day, emails, until they reply back. Once they reply back, then the automations stop. We're also seeing a shift from phone calls to messages. And by that, I mean like chat and instant messages. And then a must-have is an all-in perspective. SEO, pay-per-click, lead service acquisition, social. So it's not just I'm going to do one thing, SEO, and that's going to, catapult my business to the next level. It doesn't work that way. So it's got to be an all-in approach that, 30-40% is coming from SEO. My Google My Business listing, we know that we're going to get another 20% from Facebook, another 20% from Google Ads, and so on. We're going to buy some leads from Home Advisor, 10% will come from that. So it's got to be a comprehensive approach. And that's a smart way to do that, to diversify a bit. Of course, you want to spend more money where you're making money, but you do want to diversify because sometimes things break, they don't work as expected. And when that happens, you're left with nothing. So it's good to not go all in on one thing, but to have a few options to be generating leads. So your plan for 2020, is it taking form? I hope so. How about you, Dave? Is your plan taking form? So what I want to do right now is go into some case studies. So we'll go over a case study, Chambly Fence. As you know, they started out and then they were doing yellow page ads. They moved into online marketing, and in September, they got 698 phone calls in that month alone. So they're really crushing it with Google Ads and SEO. Here's a little snapshot of their call report. 698 calls in 30 days. Another case study, how Mr. Fence of Florida, they opened up a new shop there. 0 calls went to average 160 in December. And you can do the same. Here's their call report, 158 calls to be exact in the month of December, which is seasonally a very slow time for everyone, but they still pulled through, brand new out there. How AAA Fence got 233 calls in the last 30 days. So seasonally, this is a slow time for fencing, but they're still crushing it, even in the past 30 days with Christmas and New Year's and all that. So that is fantastic. And you guys can do the same. And here's just a little sample call report. So online strategy, you want a website. Let's summarize what you want here. You want a website that's built to convert. You want to be proactive in search engine optimization by providing value-added content that answers customer questions. You want to focus on your online reviews and reputation. That's paramount. So get your system in place for getting those reviews. I recommend an automated online system. And then I also recommend that you hand them something physically. So print them out, something where they can give you a review. We like to use one that has a short code to their Google My Business listing along with a QR code. I'm sorry, a short URL, that's like a bit.ly link, so they can easily just type it in and go to the Google My Business listing, or a QR code, so they can just scan it with their phone and it opens up the Google My Business listing right on their phone. Strategic pay-per-click campaign with remarketing should be included. A social presence, email marketing, and that has to do with automation that I talked about, how if someone's filling out a contact form, you don't want that to be the end of it. You want to have automations in place to keep that conversation going. So you better believe that if they're filling out a contact form with you or calling you and they don't get you right away, they're going to the very next person on Google within the next minute. And that guy or gal is going to get the sale just because they were more responsive. So that's why we have these automations in place that someone calls in, they're getting a text message right away. They're getting emails right away, text messages when they fill out a contact form. So that's huge. Is having that automation and funnel to follow up for days and days if you can't reach them. And then precision tracking and measurement of your key performance indicators. So how many leads are you getting? How many calls, contact forms? How much money are you making from it? So let's discuss some action items. Any volunteers? What are your top 3 internet marketing initiatives that you want to implement to hit your 2020 goal? Anyone want to volunteer? What are some things that you're actually going to put in place this year to help you get your goal? Dave, I know that you're going to launch your website. That's awesome. So that's a good thing to put in place. Steve says he's going to redesign his site. Very good. Gary's going to do pay-per-click ads. Awesome, Gary. Well done, guys. Love the responses. So takeaways, what did you learn? What did you notice? What would you like to share? Any takers? Dave says he's looking for help to optimize. Okay, awesome. Give us a shout. We can help you with that. But that's great. So key takeaways. We got one from Steve. Steve says his website is not mobile friendly. He needs to fix that. Yeah, that's a biggie, Steve. We're seeing that at least half of our traffic from clients is mobile. So that's huge. So very good. Cindy says that she had no goal set and she's going to do it. That's very good. Awesome, Cindy. Good for you. So far, we've covered setting goals for 2020, how many leads to hit your target, 3 fundamentals to marketing success, how to optimize your website for conversion in 2020 and beyond, and then the big picture of all the online marketing channels you should be tapping into to maximize your lead flow online, as well as the latest trends you must be aware of in 2020. And then we developed a custom action plan based on where you are now and what you need to do now. So help. Would anyone like some help? Dave, I know you said you're looking for help. So if you want help from us, then we are here. Just type "Let's talk" in the comments section, and we'll make a note to reach back out to you soon. You can type "Let's talk" in the comments section, and we'll get in touch with you to help you out. You bet. You can also give us a call We'd love to talk with you. 855-217-0194. Or you can always schedule a strategy session call with us by going to fencemarketingteam.com/schedule, or as they say in England, schedule. So fencemarketingteam.com/schedule. Now, for your reward, for those of you who stuck around, here's how to get a list of the most commonly searched fence and gate keywords, as well as the ultimate online marketing checklist that I promised you. Bam! Just go to www.fencemarketingteam.com/reward. And there you go. You will have that to download and have for eternity, and it will help you out. So that pretty much brings us to a close. And I want to thank you all for attending. I can open up a quick Q&A session. If someone has any questions, you can go ahead and type them in to chat. Does anyone have any specific questions that they have about their marketing or setting their goals? Anything like that? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Anybody at all? Going once, going twice. Awesome. Well, I want to thank all of you for attending and interacting. It was really great. And I hope you found this very helpful. Have an awesome 2020. And be sure to stay tuned for our monthly webinars. We do this. This is part of our 2020 internet marketing, how to triple your leads by getting your internet marketing right. So be tuned next month. We'll have another one of these. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.